Good morning, guys. It's Lori. It's morning right now. I'm not sure what time. I think it's Thursday, August something. I don't know, 23rd maybe. Um, so, in the series of supernatural events, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of background and then tell you another thing that happened to me. So, when I was very, very, very young, I'm talking like toddler young, is when I started hearing what I used to call them the voices. I used to hear voices in my head. And it started with, almost sounded like, when a party's going on next door or there's a stadium full of people and you can hear people talking, there's both male and female, but you can't distinguish any true conversation. It would start like that, and then some of the voices would get more clear, and I could hear actual things. I didn't know if they were being said to me or if I was just hearing a conversation. And then another thing that would happen is time. And this can sound really weird, and it's really hard to explain to anybody unless they've actually experienced it. So I'd hear the voices, and then time would change on me. So, and the voices would start either going faster and faster and faster, or the opposite, slow motion. And everything around me in the physical realm would also go slow motion or faster. Like if I was listening to somebody talk, or if the TV was on, or if the radio was on, it would actually start going at, hyper speed, totally rapid speed, or the opposite, total slow motion, to the point where it's kind of like, remember when you used to be able to change the speed on a turntable on an album, kind of like that. That's how it would start out, and I would hold my head to make it stop. I have looked it up since, and there's something called Alice in Wonderland syndrome or Todd's disease. It's a neurological disorder, I guess. But that usually makes things look larger or smaller, but that's the closest thing I could find to it as far as the physical. I have come to know now that it was definitely spiritual because of the things that have followed. That stopped happening at some point, maybe in my teens or preteens. And then it happened again to me after I was separated, or I may have been divorced by then. I don't know if I was actually divorced or just separated, but I had kind of lost it when I got divorced. I really had a breakdown. And I remember one day I lived in an apartment complex that had a pool. I had brought the kids to the pool. I came back, and I think my former husband came and picked up the kids. And I went and I laid down for a minute, and it started again. And I just said, "You will not do this to me now," and it stopped immediately. So I know it can't be a neurological disorder. You can't make that stop, right? But the reason I know how young, so the first like real strong memory I have of that, I was 3 years old, and I remember having that memory. It was not the first time it happened. So in remembering this, it seemed like a common thing. It had been going on for quite some time. Now, to a 3 year old, how long is that? I tend to think it's probably been going on since birth, but because I know it had been ongoing. But this particular day, the reason I know I was three is because later in life I asked my mother how old I was the Christmas that I was sick, because it had gotten so bad one day, one Christmas morning. I couldn't participate. I couldn't open my gifts. I went in my parents' bedroom while my brother and sister opened gifts, and my parents had the whole Christmas celebration. I stayed in my parents' bedroom, and I had told them that I was sick because I knew, even at that young age, that I could not tell them the truth of what was going on. How did I know that? I don't know. But, and my dad came in and checked on me. And I remember telling Dad the truth. I said something to the effect of, "Dad, I'm not really sick. This is what's happening." And I don't know what else he said. I was 3 years old, but what I distinctly remember is him saying, "Don't ever tell anybody about this." Now, he must have said something to somebody later on, because I do remember going to the doctor, having like EEGs, having scans on my head and that sort of thing. And I remember that kind of stuff happening again when I was in third or fourth grade. A lot of testing and that sort of So I would imagine they would have found something if it was physical. But anyway, that's where it begins with me. And when I look back on that now, like when it happened to me when I was in my 20s, or no, I must have just been 30 because I got divorced when I was 30. It felt, it doesn't feel good. It feels like a torment almost. So it started out in a negative. It started out very negative, and that could be because I lived in a negative household, you know. Um, I remember praying to God to die at that point. I would ask him to take me out of this world. And what I would hear back is a literal voice that would say, it'll all be over soon. So for years I was convinced I was going to die because I thought that's what it meant. I think it was God just, or the Holy Spirit just telling me, this part of your life will be over soon. Because obviously it is. We grow up, we move on, you know. Um, so speaking of that distortion, when I was, you know, looking up what it could be in the physical realm, and I came upon this Todd's disease or this Alice in Wonderland syndrome, it made me think of another incident that happened to me. And at this time, I must have been about 27, maybe 28. I was still married. I was sleeping on the couch one night because that's what happened at the end of my marriage. It was really an odd thing. I loved my husband. I loved him so much. It was, I was in love with him up until the end. Well, just before the end. It was very strange. And then through things that happened, I felt like I'd fallen out of love with him. And then when he left me, my whole world fell apart. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I'm sleeping on the couch. My husband was in the bedroom, and I was having this dream. And I don't know if it was truly a dream. It could have been sleep paralysis or the beginning of sleep paralysis. Well, what I was seeing in my mind's eye is like this entity, but it wasn't in the form of a body or anything. It was just like dark cloud. But I knew it was an entity. I knew it was evil. And I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. And it was trying to, it felt like it was hovering above me, and it felt like it was trying to get inside of me. And I was terrified. And I knew that if it got inside of me, I was doomed. Now, I don't know if that meant I was going to die. I don't know. But I just knew that I could not let it get inside of me. But I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. That's why I say it could have been sleep paralysis. Like, I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. For the life of me, I just couldn't. So, this is going on for I don't know how long. But it's hovering, and it's coming in. It's coming in. It's like it wants to be inside of me. And then, and it's probably now like 2 in the morning in the physical realm. And in the physical realm, someone knocked on my door. Well, I was sleeping right in the living room. The door was right in the living room. So that knock on the door snapped me out of it. It broke the sleep paralysis. And I woke up. And I woke up terrified. And that thing was still there. And instead of opening the door, now I don't know if I was terrified of who was on the other side of the door or this spiritual thing that was going on, or both. But I was terrified. It kind of like I had like an awake nightmare almost. So I got up and I ran to the end of the hall to my bedroom where my husband was sleeping. And we lived in a ranch. Yeah, and so, you know, it's a typical ranch. You walk in the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, long hallway with 3 bedrooms, 1, 2, 3, and the bathroom. Mine and my husband's bedroom was the last bedroom on the right, so it's down at the end of the hall. So I got up and I ran like a bat out of hell to the end of the hall to the bedroom. And I know in reality, like if somebody was physically watching me, I probably got there in about 3 seconds flat, maybe even less than that, because I mean, I was hustling. But what it felt like to me, you know, in a dream, when you're trying to run and you can't, and it's like slow mo, like that, like whoa, and you just can't run for the life of you. It was like that, and I could feel this thing that wanted to get inside of me, like right there, right. It was like right there, right on my tail, like it was after me, and it was close. It wasn't far behind. It was like right there. If it were a person, I could have felt its breath on my neck. And I turned that corner, made that right, and I jumped on top of my husband. I straddled him, and that's how I know how fast I was going, because I mean, I flew right up on him, and I'm straddling him. He's asleep. And I mean, first of all, if somebody jumps on you that hard when you're sleeping, you think you'd wake up. He didn't. And I'm shaking him, and I'm like, wake up, and I'm crying, and I'm like screaming, wake up, wake up. He won't wake up. It's like as if I'm in this nightmare, like this living nightmare. He won't wake up. I don't know how long that went on, but I know I'm slapping him. Wake up, wake up, wake up. He would not wake up. Probably, I don't know how long this was. In reality, it was probably not long at all, but it felt like forever to me. Finally, he opens his eyes and he's like, what's wrong? Now, I'm on top of him, you know? And all I could get out was someone's at the door. So he looks at me like, okay, like, what's your problem? And I'm like, someone's at the door. You gotta go see. You gotta go see. And he's like, okay, you have to get off me. And he's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I am literally shaking from head to toe now. And he said, all right, I'm going to go see. And he got up, and I stayed in the bedroom. And I'm like, please hurry up and come back. Just please hurry up. And he's like, okay. And he went and checked the door. He talked to whoever was there, and he came back. And I was literally, like, shaking. And he looked at me, and he's like, what is wrong with you? And I told him, just hold on to me, don't let go. And he's like, I've got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, I'll go with you. I went in the bathroom with him, and I made him hold me, even while he peed. Went back, and he held me until I fell asleep. Like, I was terrified. Okay, so you could say that was just maybe I was still in a dream and I woke up. Maybe that's true. I think something was there. It wasn't, maybe I was kind of in a dreamlike state, but I really think something was after me. And the really, really odd part is the person that was at our door at 2 o'clock in the morning on a winter's night in the snowstorm was a man that was a friend of my husband's, a friend of ours, who later down the road, after when we split up, ended up stalking me. Ended up being totally freaking me out, evil, and stalking me. Now, later, I had told this, I didn't know he was a stalker at the time, and I had told my husband and I told him what happened, and he's like, well, see, I saved you from evil. No, it was a warning. He was evil. He was evil. I don't know if he somehow was in cahoots with the spirit but didn't know it, or if both things just happened to coincide at the same time. I don't believe in coincidence, so I don't think it was a coincidence, but that was a very odd experience. It was like living out a nightmare in reality. Very strange. Anyway, I hope you're full of, hope your day is full of laughter. I hope you have great opportunities. I hope blessings follow you wherever you go. May you be blessed by God. May you find favor with men and favor with God. Please go out and help somebody today. Random act of kindness. Remember, there's 365 days in a year. If you perform one random act of kindness every day, that's 365 lives that are altered just by you alone in 1 year. Okay, so, and I'm going to put it in the link in the descriptions. Donations are desperately needed, and I could really use them. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. Keep on watching, and may you be blessed. If you need me for any reason, please comment or message me, And I will get back to you just as soon as possible. God bless you guys and have a great day.